Hey guys, it's Rachel. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a very special video because I am posting this on Taylor Swift's 33rd birthday, which seems absolutely crazy to say. It seems just like yesterday I was logging online to look at an 18-year-old's videos who I admired so much. I am 23 years old now and I started loving Taylor Swift when I was in elementary school, and I'm graduating from college on Saturday, so this is absolutely crazy to me. And so I came up with an idea to tell you 33 memories for Taylor's 33rd birthday. These are all Taylor related memories. I've loved Taylor for many years. Let me tell you, this was not an easy task because I was searching and scrambling in my brain. I'm like, how do I narrow it down? Like, there are so many more that I could have put on this list, but I didn't. And I tried to just narrow and comb my brain, and I'm like, okay, I gotta pull from different eras, or like what was, you know, most fun to me, what stuck out, like a lot. So without further ado, let's get started. Number one on my list is, of course, meeting Taylor. That was the best day of my life. I met her in Glendale, Arizona on August 17th, 2015 at pre-show meet and greet for the 1989 World Tour. Taylor actually invited me to meet her. She had her team contact me after she sent me Christmas presents, and I will never, all these years later, I still can hear her saying, "Rachel, my buddy," like just like that. And she ran to me and she hugged me. She's like, "I'm so glad you're here tonight. I'm so happy we're finally meeting." And that leads me to number two. Taylor Swift sent me Christmas presents back in 2014. So when Taylor Swift sent me Christmas presents back in 2014, she actually found me on social media, on Tumblr. And she had liked a couple of my posts from like Instagram too. And even on Twitter, she had noticed me. But Tumblr was the main source of this. So she found me on Tumblr and she started liking my posts. She shopped for me. She sent me Christmas gifts, and in the letter she said, "And I can't wait to meet you soon. Love you, Taylor." So those are definitely really my number one and number two. Like those, I was about to say, I don't see those ever getting beat, but who knows? It's always a wild ride loving Taylor, and I would not trade it for the entire world. I actually just posted a couple videos if you're interested on hearing more about my Swiftmas experience, what she gave me, how it came to be, all that. So yeah, I love her so much, and I'm definitely gonna wear my bracelet that says Taylor loves Rachel on my graduation day. And number three, okay, after this it's kind of like out of order, I kind of just listed them, but just know one and two is definitely meeting Taylor and Swiftmas. And number three, my Taylor tattoo. I got this Taylor Swift tattoo. It is actually the heart that she drew on my envelope. I got it the day I turned 18. And my dad was not the biggest fan of tattoos. I, of course, could have done it on my own without telling my parents, but I value my parents very much. So I was like, hey, like, what do you think about like me getting a tattoo when I turn 18? And he was like, what do you want? And I was like, just the heart that Taylor drew for me. And he was like, well, if you get anything, let it be that, because I know that Taylor is going absolutely nowhere. And it's still one of my favorite things that I've ever done, because no matter what kind of day I'm having, I can look down at my wrist and be like, I'm special. Taylor Swift loves me, and I have somebody to look up to who's been a constant in my life. And so that's what my tattoo means to me. It's very personal to me. Okay, so number three was her seeing me at Barricade in Arlington. So Taylor Swift saw me at Barricade in Arlington at the Reputation Stadium tour on the first night. I was at the Barricade waiting for her between, she does the surprise song, and then she's like, and I want to see you guys over there, here I come. She comes through a barricade, and then she goes to the second B stage. I was waiting at Barricade, she turned around and she like dropped her jaw. I will never forget, because she was like on the other side of the barricade. I'm like, oh man, like she's not gonna turn around, and she's not gonna see me, she's not gonna grab my hand. But I had my hand out, she turned around and went. And my friend Natalie, she was right behind me, and I cannot thank her enough for getting those pictures. She saw me, she grabbed my hand so tight, like, and held on. Number 5 is not an ad, just facts. So I asked Taylor on Tumblr one time what lipstick she was wearing, and Taylor Swift delivered. A lot of other fans were like, yes, Taylor, tell us, like, tell us. So it caught on, and Taylor ended up seeing my post, and she was like, that one that I'm wearing is Back in Vogue by MAC. And then she was like, another one I'm obsessed with is the Kat Von D Double Dare. And I'm like, oh my God. So if you ever hear anybody say like, not an ad, just facts, just know. Oh my God, that is unreal. Okay. Number 6 is me finding out an Easter egg. So Taylor Swift reblogged me for the second time. So I said, wait a second, I found another Easter egg. Ellen asked Taylor if she left an Easter egg during the interview, which was Ellen being in the You Need to Calm Down music video, because Taylor was like, do you want to be in a music video? And Ellen was like, yeah, okay. But then Taylor, during the burning question, said her favorite movie was Someone Great, which inspired Death by a Thousand Cuts. And I said, ma'am. And Taylor said, another fun fact about that interview is that Ellen still had the Cruel Summer tattoo on her arm underneath her sleeve because we had shot the scene for the video 20 minutes before the interview. And she kept checking to make sure it wasn't showing. Hashtag memories. Oh man. So then I have my getting the call to meet Taylor as my next moment, because that was truly such an entirely special moment to me. I had a feeling if it was going to happen that it would happen in Glendale, because Taylor knew from Tumblr that I was going to the Glendale shows. And like when I met her, I was like, yeah, Taylor, like I flew from Virginia. And she's like, oh, I know. I'm like, you what? But I didn't think it was gonna happen, because a lot of people had gotten the call to meet her like the night before, and I had not gotten anything, and I was truly terrified. And I remember it was the morning of the show. My dad and I went to Cracker Barrel to eat breakfast, still nothing. And then we came back to the hotel. Actually, we went outside the arena and took a picture first that I was gonna post online. And then I was sitting on my bed making a poster on Walgreens, and I went and sat next to my dad. I was like, hey, like, what do you think of this poster? Because like, we were totally gonna go all out. We were gonna try and meet Taylor that night no matter what. My dad was like, I don't care what I have to wear, like, we're just doing this. And I sat next to my dad, and I remember, I'll get like choked up. I remember looking down at my phone, and Nashville, a call was coming through from Nashville, and I just looked at my dad and went, oh my God. And I took it, and it was Taylor Nation, and they were like, are you so excited for the show tonight? I'm like, yeah, I am. And she's like, good, because Taylor is so excited to meet you. And I started bawling. And I got the instructions, and that was just such a moment. I remember I had never seen my dad cry until that moment. My dad was absolutely crying right along with me. As soon as I hung up, we hugged, and we were both sobbing. And that is something that I will absolutely never ever forget as long as I live. So for number 7, I just have coming home and watching Taylor's videos in elementary school. And I wrote this down because I distinctly remember asking everybody who I crossed paths with, what is your favorite Taylor Swift song? And if I was starting to get into her, and I was like, oh, I love that one. And I had not heard Picture to Burn yet when I asked this girl, and this girl was like, Picture to Burn. And I'm like, oh, I love that one. I didn't know it yet. And so I went home and I like scribbled. I was like, and I remember once I heard Love Story, that was it. And then I remember all I wanted to do was like know everything I could about this girl. And I went home and I watched her interviews and her music videos, and I deep dove into Taylor Swift. And so Target release days is actually my next one, because there is something so special about going to Target and getting Taylor Swift's album on release day. Like, there is just not a better feeling than walking into Target after staying up until midnight, and then you're going into Target and you're gonna take pictures and your little merch, and you get Taylor Swift's physical album. Like, CDs are such a lost art, but not with the Taylor Swift fandom, which is something I hold to be so special. And I've been getting her albums on release day since Speak Now. Next up, I have the Tribeca Film Festival. So the Tribeca Film Festival was actually in June. It was over my best friend's birthday weekend. We met because of Taylor. She's been on my channel a lot, and she will be again soon. So Emma has become my very best friend, and so we went and saw Taylor together at the Tribeca Film Festival. And that was so fun, because it was so fun seeing Taylor in like a different light than, you know, on stage, and like something, you know, else, like another creative spawn of, you know, her abilities. And we got to sit and listen to her talk about the All Too Well short film and her director abilities, and it was just so fun. And then she played All Too Well 10-minute version for us, which was so shocking. I will never forget that moment. When she grabbed the guitar and she was like, it could feel like a concert, and they brought out her guitar, and like my soul left my body in that in that moment. Yeah, and I had never waited outside for her like that before, and Tribeca was the first time that I did that. And the lighting is getting weird, but we're still gonna sit here. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad, but that was the first time that I had ever stood outside and like waited for her to come out, and she like waved to the crowd, and it was so fun. We were all singing. That was such a core memory too. We were all singing like Cruel Summer. We were singing All Too Well. Like, the whole crowd was chanting it as we all waited for her. So seeing Taylor for the first time, I had to put that, because I saw her for the first time in Speak Now in Philly, her hometown show, which is so funny. I was gifted these tickets, and I was so grateful to be there, but I will never forget that feeling like, oh my God, I am seeing Taylor Swift. Like, I am seeing her, we're going. I remember I had no idea what she was covering. She sang Who Knew by Pink that night, because she would cover songs on the Speak Now tour from like an artist who was from the city that she was performing in. I remember leaning over to my dad, I was like, are we supposed to know this song? But yeah, it was priceless. I had the time of my life, and yeah. That was truly the start of an age, by the way. So my next one, number 12, is getting Wonderstruck at Macy's. I remember when Wonderstruck came out, I distinctly remember what I was wearing. I was so excited. I was wearing pink rain boots, fuzzy pink rain boots, like UGG style. And I had on a floral skirt and a teal top. And I remember it was at Christmas time. Now, no, like, it was cold out. Like, it was cold out, Rachel. And Rachel was prancing up to Macy's in that, on top of the world, because we went earlier in the day to like look at it, and then that night my dad was like, okay, I'll get it for you. So we went back, and that's when I changed my outfit. You guys, like, I planned this outfit. Yeah, that deserved my phone being dropped. I was on top of the world. I remember, oh my God, I remember this so clearly. So in Macy's around Christmas time, sometimes they put out like a red carpet on the floor just to make it look like more festive, whatever. And I remember I was standing behind my dad, like my dad's walking to the perfume counter. I'm right behind my dad going like this, like I'm posing on the runway. I thought I was the cutest thing that anybody has ever seen. So the next one I put watching the top 20 countdown every weekend just to see Taylor, distinctively remembering the Mine music video. Oh my God. just like clockwork, every Saturday morning, I would sit in front of the TV and watch CMT's Top 20 Countdown because I wanted to watch the Mine music video on the TV. Did I have a computer? Yes. And let me tell you, the behind the scenes stuff always was replayed on my end. So, that was another thing that I like fixated over. Like, I had to watch the behind the scenes of Mine every single day. But the Mine music video and like the Mean music video, the Story of Us music video, like I remember waiting like this by the TV, waiting for that to come on the Top 20 Countdown. And I even have a selfie of that. Opening night of Rep Tour was so much fun because I had absolutely no idea what was going to go on. You had no idea what anything was going to look like, what her outfits were going to look like. I am so excited for opening night. I'm going with my best friends and like, you guys, I cannot wait to feel that again. Like, you don't know the pre-show playlist. You don't know anything. I was sitting in my seat and Taylor found out that I was there, and I remember just sitting in my seat sobbing. Like, Natalie #1 had just told Taylor that I was there, and Taylor was excited, and then Taylor saw my post on Tumblr that I was there. Unmatched because I was sobbing. Meeting Andrea. I met Andrea in DC because I was row 1 of the lower bowl, and I was able to meet Andrea, which was so special to me because she walked up to me, she recognized me, she's like, hi, and like I made her laugh. I made Taylor Swift's mom laugh. She came up to me and I was like, oh my god, like, can we get a picture? And Andrea's like, yeah. So I turned on Snapchat because I wanted like the front flash to work, and I wanted to make sure the picture was gonna take. So I went on Snapchat and the filter went on her face, and like Andrea is laughing so hard. And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm shaking. She's like, oh no, it's funny. It's okay. We got the selfie, but she was so sweet. So sweet. Like, I am so grateful that I got to meet Andrea. Number 16 is flying to a car race to see Taylor Swift. That was unhinged. I flew to Austin, Texas with my dad. God bless him. I coaxed him into that. I was like, Dad, you like racing, right? And he's like, yeah. And then I coaxed him to go with me, and it was so special. I waited outside all day with my friends. We were all taking pictures. It was blazing hot. And then we got to see Taylor do her only show of 2016, which was entirely special, and I would do it again. Except people got trampled and that was a whole mess, but would I do it again for Taylor? Yeah. But it was a blast. She actually found out that I was there. My friends Lauren and Emily actually met her that night, and they told Taylor that I was there, and she was like, oh, that's awesome, tell her I said hi. So Taylor tweeted my selfie when 1989 came out. She was tweeting fan selfies for Taylor King, and she found, this was unreal, she found my selfie. I was holding the album. I said, Tay never goes out of style, something like that. And I posted it. She liked it on Tumblr. She saved it to her phone. She put a filter on it and she posted it on Twitter within like the span of 5 minutes with the caption, and I know for you, it's always me. And I will never forget that night. I was over at my grandma's and I was absolutely sobbing. Okay, like sobbing. And I went to the back room because we were over there watching football with my family, and I went to the back room and I called my mom, and my mom was like, oh, it's like she knows you, like this is like she was personally saying that to you. And I was losing it on the phone. So number 18 is Folklore. When it came out, Bobby is my best friend, and we took a drive. We were two heartbroken chicks, and because of quarantine, we were very, very careful, like, about seeing each other, of course. But I remember we had both been, like, safely quarantined, and we're like, let's just go on a drive. Like, let's just go on a drive, like, and listen to the whole entire album. And we did, and it was an absolute blast. We ended up at Taco Bell laughing our butts off to the point where the poor guy, like, at the window, like, could barely understand me, and, like, that was so obnoxious of me. But, like, that was such a core memory of us. I think I'm gonna actually finish this at home because the lighting is getting very weird. So I will catch you guys in a couple minutes. Back to picking up where we left off. So my next memory is the Red live stream. I remember when this was happening, my dad and I were in South Carolina with my grandparents visiting, and my dad was like, we can go out to dinner, but Taylor Swift is doing a Google live stream, and she's probably gonna announce something, so Rachel really wants to watch it. And my grandpa was like, oh, like, that's okay, like, bring your laptop. This was not like a nice restaurant. It was like a little pizza restaurant with, like, not a lot of people, like a local spot, just quiet. Rachel did not make it quiet, because I remember when Taylor Swift said, I have a new album coming out October 22nd, I screamed, and everybody at the table was laughing. And then I quickly apologized, because then I was like, oh, and then I literally looked at my dad. I said, I'll watch the rest of this later, because I knew that, like, that just wasn't gonna work. So we ended up putting the laptop away, and I just watched it as soon as we got back. And I stayed up till midnight, and I was like, Dad, we gotta download We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Now, this was the time where I had an iPod. Did I have my iPod yet? Well, yeah, I had to have had my iPod, but I had an iPod, and I was begging this poor man at midnight who was just trying to get some sleep. I was like, I texted him, I was like, hey, are you still awake? On my little flip phone. And he downloaded the song for me and put it on my iPod so I could listen to it. I did not sleep all night because I was not going to sleep until I memorized all the words. The next one is the 1989 Yahoo live stream. So my dad and I, bless my dad, honestly. So in Formula One, the car race, my friends gave him the nickname Super Dad because he literally was holding on to, like, so many of us, so we didn't get trampled. We were all, like, latching arms, like, and he was making sure all my friends were safe. So we called him Super Dad, and honestly, he really deserves that title. So this is another story. So during the 1989 Yahoo Live, my dad and I decided that we were going to take a trip in 2014 to Nashville, Tennessee. I had always wanted to go. I had never gone. And my dad was like, let's go. So we went. Taylor Swift announces that she is doing a Yahoo live stream on that day that we're leaving. And my dad's like, well, we're just gonna have to leave earlier so we can be checked into the hotel room by the time that Taylor does her Yahoo live stream. What a man. Nashville's about 10 hours away, so you can imagine what time we had to leave. It was really early, but we made it there. We were in our hotel room, and I remember watching it, and I remember Shake It Off, and I remember, you know, all the fans in the music video. And I remember when Taylor said there's going to be so many opportunities and I want to be able to meet as many of you as I can this era. And I remember saying to myself, this is my era. The 1989 era is my era. And that Yahoo live stream was on August 18th, 2014. And I met Taylor Swift 364 days later on August 17th, 2015. If that's not a full circle moment, I don't know what is. But I remember I was like, you know what? I am absolutely making this era mine to meet Taylor. And cheers. Cheers to manifesting. Never, ever give up on the fact of manifesting. Never do it. Okay. Mastermind was written for us. So the next one that I have is Record Store Day. And that was actually this year, the one that I wrote down about. Because I actually went to Record Store Day when they released the different versions of Taylor's albums. Like, I have the pink splattered 1989. I have the blue splattered copy of the debut album. But I remember that was pure coincidence that I found those. Like, it was pure coincidence that we walked in there that day and I found those. I'm still desperately looking for the yellow splattered Fearless, because that would be something so special to have in my collection, because Fearless was the first album that I ever listened to by Taylor. And that was truly the album that started it all. So, this year, however, Taylor was the Record Store Day ambassador. And it was announced that Taylor was going to have a 7-inch version of The Lakes. And Rachel said, okay, bet. I never thought that I would sleep on the sidewalk of my own city for Taylor Swift. I saw that in my future for, like, you know, New York City, something like that, like SNL. But never in my own city did I think that I'm going to be camping out for something Taylor Swift related. But I did. And I vlogged the whole entire thing. And let me tell you, it was so much fun. Was I freezing? Yes. Was I slightly miserable? Yes. Did I sleep at all? Absolutely not. But I was surrounded by so many nice people. I camped out from about midnight to, we didn't go in until I think it was 8:30. 8:30. They gave us placeholders at 6, so I truly pulled an all-nighter for Taylor Swift. I remember I went to bed, and right before I went to bed, the local record store that I go to posted how many people they had outside, and I was like, alright, I'm gonna sleep for like 2 hours. I'm gonna set my alarm for like 11:30, 12 o'clock, somewhere in there, and then I'm gonna get up and go. And I did, and I had so much serotonin, so much adrenaline that, like, I didn't feel tired, honestly. I was freezing, however. But my record store was the nicest, and they had like a stand full of coffee and snacks and stuff. My local record store is by far the nicest, and I stand by that. So, okay, Midnight's release. So when Midnight's was released, my local record store, again, decided that they were going to open at midnight to sell people the album. And I knew that it was going to be very high in demand, so I was like, okay, look, I'm very funny. I contemplated going or not because I'm very much the person who, when Taylor drops a new album, I like to just sit by myself and dissolve it in the comfort of my space. And I knew that I didn't want to hear it for the first time, you know, out. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to digest it myself. However, my opinion changed, because when we walked in, it was like 5 minutes before midnight. They invited us in. They're like, hey, like, we're playing it on vinyl. Like, it's not officially out yet, but like, it's out for us. Because we're spinning the vinyl. We can't sell it to you guys before midnight. They were like, but we're playing it. Just come on in and we'll take pictures, you know, with you guys, whatever. We did that. It was awesome. They're the best. They go out of their way to make it fun. And I will never forget the moment I walked in the door. It was on Maroon. And my jaw was like, because it was near the end of the song where it's like, that's a real legacy to leave. And I was with my friend Callie, and we looked at each other and I went, and we just screamed. Like, and it was fully like, we could let ourselves go and do that. It wasn't like the record store place was like, what are they doing? Like, they were like, you guys were so much fun. Like, this is what we wanted for you guys. And let me just say, by the time Question came on, I had paid for my vinyls and my CDs, and I remember that I heard Question come on, and I heard Taylor Swift say, D-I-C-K head. And that was the moment my soul left my body. Like, I was like, she said what? And me and Callie were just standing there, like, just listening. And it was so much fun. Then when I got in my car, I added it to my library. I had to, like, I had pre-ordered it, but, like, I don't know why I didn't add to my library, so I had to, like, do it again. And then it added. But then I played it from the top. And I listened to it the whole way home. And then I went to McDonald's. Like, I didn't want to stop the album and, like, come inside and listen to it. Like, I was like, you know what? I'm out. I'm just going to take a drive and listen to it. Okay. So the next one is when Taylor decided to cut her hair. And we were all waiting online for the reveal. I will never forget that. The Red Tour was wrapping up. And I remember that Taylor was like, I'm cutting my hair. I remember I was glued to my phone, refreshing like crazy. We were like, I was like following people who were like, you know, was in the corner of the, like, Ellie Goulding. I don't think I followed Ellie Goulding before that, but I know, like, I followed Ellie Goulding in that moment because I was like, I need to see Taylor's hair as soon as possible. And she cut her hair that night, and I will never forget when there was a final, like, the first glimpse was my mom and I were in front of, like, Rite Aid, and I was like, it's out. And, like, my mom and I were just, like, so excited to see her hair. It was just such an iconic moment. Like, if you know, you know. Like, that was truly one of, like, those nights in the fandom that, like, will go down in history. So, the next one is Clover Dash for Taylor tickets. Clover Dash was a contest in my area. They were actually sending people to Reputation Stadium Tour at MetLife. And my mom and I ran around my entire city taking pictures with shamrocks. So how it went was whoever took, so there were certain shamrocks you had to find throughout the city, right? And then after that, you could take as many pictures as you wanted. So you had to have, like, the right ones that was, like, part of the clues, whatever. And then you could take pictures with as many shamrocks as you wanted, and whoever had the most pictures with shamrocks got Taylor Swift tickets. And I don't know how I got like, I am not kidding you, my mom was a freaking trooper. Like, I remember we were running around like freaking crazy. Up and downstairs, downstairs, and they weren't in store. Actually, I think one was in a store. It was in a Cold Stone, but we were running all over the place, and, like, the selfies are god awful because we were like, you know, you're moving, like, you don't stop. If anybody ever needs me to start working out, just tell me that Taylor Swift tickets are on the line or something Taylor related's on the line, and I will become a track star athlete. Like, don't you worry. So the next one I have is Jingle Bash Chicago. So this was actually the first show that Taylor did after Reputation was released, and it was so much fun. My dad and I flew to Chicago to see Taylor at Jingle Bash, and it was Christmas time, and it was such a fun time. I remember that we all had, like, a designated meeting spot for the Taylor Swift fans, and we met in the section, and we were all just, like, taking pictures and smiling. We hadn't seen each other, and it was just a blast, you guys. And then we all got together and we were gonna take a huge group picture for Taylor to post. And then I came up with the idea. I was like, hey, like, what if we all just said the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now? Why? Oh, because she's dead. And, like, that was so much fun. I love the sense of unity, and I have made so many beautiful friendships because of Taylor, and those moments truly, like, I know we looked obnoxious, but, like, it truly made me so happy. Just to, like, be around people who love Taylor just like you do. You know, you have those moments alone. Like, during the Speak Now era, I was very, like, to myself. Like, I would make home videos. I would come home and just, like, blast Taylor, but I was very to myself. And then I decided that those home videos I wanted to post, and during the Red era is when I actually started posting. And my god, those are cringy videos, but you know what, my god, like, I was watching a couple last night. They are so wholesome because you can see how much I've grown up with Taylor, and that's absolutely crazy to me. So yeah. So the next one I have is seeing my face on the big screen at the 1989 World Tour. So they played the Swift Miss video on the screen for pre-show entertainment. And let me tell you, when I saw my face on the screen, my mom and I were like, let's sit in there, like, because we didn't want to go walk around and miss it. So we sat and watched it, and my mom and I were bawling our eyes out when I came on the screen. Like, to see your face on Taylor Swift's, like, monitors is absolutely the craziest thing. Like, the absolute craziest thing. My mom and I were, like, bawling our eyes out. And my mom was like, oh my god, I didn't think I was gonna cry, but, like, we were both crying. It was a moment. Okay, so the next one is the Subway Taylor contest. My poor father. My dad was like, what do you want to eat tonight? Subway, 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 Subway. Taylor Swift did a contest during the 1989 era, where you could meet Taylor from Subway. And I thought, I like all the cups, oh my god, like all the Subway cups, had a code on them, and they were all the same code. However, I wasn't stopping. Like I told you, I was on a mission during the 1989 era. Like for a real one, and Taylor Swift said, let me stop you. We're gonna meet, don't you worry. Okay. So, American greeting card hunting. I put this on here because it's funny. So, Taylor Swift had a sponsorship with American greeting cards, and then she had one with Papyrus, but specifically American greeting cards, there's a whole entire box in my room of Taylor Swift greeting cards. No matter where I went, it was Target, Walmart, Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS, everywhere I went. There were hours and hours, and my patient parents standing there, specifically my mom. Like, my mom and I went American greeting card hunting, okay? Like, we would go to, I remember Rite Aid, and I would, like, scour all the cards. I was like this. Because it would have like a specific little tag popping up, and I could honestly spot them a mile away, and I collected so many of them. Just like, it was so much fun though, I can't even lie. Yeah, if you guys want me to do like an American greeting card collection, let me know, because I really would like to look at them. Okay, so the next one I have is Walgreens red merch. So I will never forget, my grandma and I have always been close, and my mom was like, when, I think it had to have been, I think it was after school started, and it was one weekend, and I was like, can I spend the night at grandma's? Like, I just want to spend some time with grandma. We went over, and my mom dropped me off, and in my room that I was staying in was a little notebook and a rubber bracelet. And I was like, grandma, because my grandma does not use technology. She wouldn't even know what to do with a cell phone if you handed it to her. But I was like, where did you get Taylor Swift merchandise? And she's like, oh, up at Walgreens. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean up at Walgreens? And she was like, yeah, like, do you want to go? Like, we can go up there. Like, they have Taylor Swift merchandise. And I was like, so I remember we went to Walgreens, and they had a whole thing of Taylor Swift merchandise. And I also remember the time too that they randomly sold red merch at Cracker Barrel, and I was like, Dad, do you want to get a Cracker Barrel for dinner? And then I remember there was a stand of Taylor Swift merchandise, and my dad was like, is that why we came here? And I was like, I didn't even know that was here. Liar. But anyways, yes, that memory with my grandma was so special, like that she went out of her way and she got me that notebook and she just laid it there. I was like, what in the world? So yeah, my family has always been so supportive of me loving Taylor. Okay. Number 30. I did put this as number 30 on my list because it was on Taylor's 30th birthday. I flew to New York City for the first time with my best friend, and I saw Taylor Swift at Jingle Ball, and I saw her on her 30th birthday. And let me just tell you, that was the best decision I have ever made, because I had tickets for Loverfest, but obviously Loverfest didn't happen. and I was one of the very few people who saw her in 2019, and I cannot believe I have not seen Taylor Swift sing, like do a show or do a set since 2019. Guys, next year is going to be a roller coaster on this channel. Like, please, if you want peak entertainment and potentially your eardrums, I'm praying for all of them. Follow along, because I cannot wait to see Taylor. Like, I'm gonna be a mess. Okay, so we got to sing Happy Birthday with the entire Madison Square crowd. Like, Madison Square Garden in the entirety. Elvis Duran brought out a huge cake and we all sang Happy Birthday to Taylor. And let me tell you, I bawled afterwards. Like, I was sobbing. That was such a, those moments of like unity like that, like I was mentioning with Jingle Bash, where we were all like, oh, Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, because she's dead. Like, sincerely, those moments of unity, like loving Taylor, makes me so happy. I want you guys to know that I wrote it down just like this. Thy shall not be named sending me birthday gifts. Now, this was a key memory. I used to post Vines. Oh my God, I sound ancient. But I used to post Vines, and I remember I posted something about it being my birthday, and Big Machine Records at the time in 2013 was like, happy birthday, Rachel. Like, we want to send you some presents. And they sent me so many goodies, like entertainer of the year kind of like stuff that they would send out like for your consideration is what they're called, to like the CMA awards and stuff like that. They sent me a Fearless box, and they sent me a lot of memorabilia, and I am very, 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 very grateful for that moment. I just don't like Big Machine anymore, obviously, because okay, but that was a very special moment to me. So the next one I have is the night that Look What You Made Me Do came out, and I will never forget the feeling I had when I heard Taylor Swift say, the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now. Why? Oh, because she's dead. Like, I will absolutely never forget that. It was like, Taylor has always been the same. Like, people are like, oh, she changed after Reputation. Like, you know, it's always been the same Taylor, but to hear her say that was like, oh, like, it just hit you. And as a fan, like, I have loved Taylor, like I said, since the moment I heard Love Story. And then after I heard Love Story, like, all I wanted to know about was everything that she had ever done. And to hear her say that, I was like, oh my God. It was like one of those moments that you were so taken aback as like a fan. Like, you're like, oh my God. Like, oh my God. So last one, number 33, is a very recent one. And so the day after my best friend and I saw Taylor Swift in Tribeca, I did not have a late flight out of there. And let me tell you, that was an interesting story in itself, because my flight got canceled. I had to ride home with Emma, and my dad had to drive to Maryland to come get me because Delta absolutely flat out canceled my flight. And that was a whole mess. But I had a flight going out later that night, so Emma was like, oh, like, you know, it's like, let's just have our day together. Like, we have plenty of time. My dad's not going to be here until like 6 o'clock. And so we got up, we caught a cab to Cornelia Street. We went on the Taylor Swift tour. Okay, we went to Cornelia Street. We got dropped off at Cornelia Street, took pictures there. Then we walked all the way to the Housing Works bookstore, where Taylor filmed part of the All Too Well short film where she had her red hair. And so that was really fun because Taylor had actually talked about that bookstore the day before at the Tribeca Film Festival. So it was fun to put it in perspective. Plus, you've seen it. It's a big moment for a Taylor Swift fan. Then we walked all the way to Bowery. Now, let me tell you, this was so fun because I kept running into so many of my friends on the street. Like, I ran into Isabel and Sarah. Then I ran into Haley and Cecilia and Adam. And then we stood out there and talked a long time. And then I ran into Allie, like, on the way to Bowery. It was just like a loop. And we were all taking the same trajectory. It was so much fun. So, yeah. Those are my special memories. And like I said in the beginning of this, I could have said so many more. so many more, but those are the ones for now that I want to share. And yeah, I love telling you guys my memories because, like I said, this channel really is a great way for me to like reflect on like my life. But anyways, happy 33rd birthday to Miss Taylor, and I love you guys so much. I cannot wait to see what happens in year 33 of her life. She's going to keep being an icon. That's a guarantee. But I love you guys. I hope this video entertained you in some way, and I sincerely hope I see you, yes, you, in the next one. Bye, guys.